Subnautica has been, for me, the best game ever created. From the design, to the gameplay, to the story, to the mentally challenged fish, no other game has ever come close to the perfection that Subnautica has. But that might be its downfall. You see, with a top quality game like Subnautica that gives a stupid amount of content and quality, it is very hard or near impossible to live up to its standards. For example, this slimy and grimy thing wasn't even close to the quality of the original. There are plenty of videos going over everything that is completely wrong with Below Zero and how it failed to live up to the sheer brilliance of the first game. My theory is that Subnautica 2 will fall into the same trap. I'm not talking about all the drama that's going on at the moment, since you've probably got an earful from literally every Subnautica YouTuber all about that. Instead, my points are much more general, and I will be giving examples when I can as so-called proof of reasons why Subnautica 2 will fail. We'll be going over 5 reasons, with the last one being the main reason why it will flop like an unconscious bladderfish. Our first reason resides in the community, more precisely the intelligence of said community. As Subnautica 2 is in very early stages of its development, there will be a massive lack of basically everything, something the community will not like or even expect. Since everybody has been waiting so long for this sequel, there will be a high chance of people having an expectation that is way off the quantity or quality of content that will be present in the early access. Naturally, people will start comparing the full-grown man to the one-day-old baby and begin to get frustrated at the fact there is only 3 tools, half a biome and a goldfish. As a general rule, everybody who has been waiting should expect very little and be surprised at the amount of content rather than expect a gigashad of a game only to receive a little Jimmy. For example, the original game had some interesting stuff at early access, just like this one will. It is our job to be patient and accepting of all the flaws, as well as helpful to the developers who are trying their best to reach goals and standards that are excruciatingly high due to the success of the first game, which is one of the reasons why the release was pushed back. Still, people will be frustrated since it is human nature to compare, even if the comparison is completely illogical. The next problem comes directly from the first game. Now, how in the hell are they going to replicate the beauty of this? Well, they tried with Below Zero, and I feel like they missed the mark by quite a bit. From the creature design to the backstories to the different biomes, nothing or very little managed to live up to the stature of Subnautica 1. The original set the mark so freaking high that it may not even be possible to outdo it, even after a plethora of updates. Naturally, this will discourage people from buying the game, since they can easily identify the fact that Subnautica 2 is gay. Subnautica 2 is much worse than the original. My solution to this? Implement aspects from the first game into the second game. And I'm not saying Control-C, Control-V, jobs are good, and a cup of tea and 4 Oreos. I'm on about transferring the most iconic and memorable creatures and biomes from the first game to Subnautica 2. I'm not a game creator by any means, but I feel like this wouldn't be too hard to simply copy-paste a Peeper or Reaper to the second game, adding a layer of nostalgia and familiarity to an otherwise unknown world. For example, everybody is familiar with the crab squid, arguably the most terrifying creature in Subnautica. What if they just transferred it into the second game and gave it its own little biome that plays into its unique characteristics found in the first game? I think that would be really cool, but let me know what you think in the comments. I will give more things I would like to see from the original game into the sequel at the end of the video if you're interested. Since you've watched this far, please consider subscribing, as we are on the road to 3,000 subscribers, and I guarantee you will not find another YouTuber who is as clinically insane as I am. I've already touched up on this topic a little bit in our last point. This is an error made by the developers that may decrease their sales. I'm talking about the lack of iconic content. I know Subnautica 2 isn't even released yet, so it's very hard to make anything iconic, but its greatest sibling did this very well. For example, just take a look at the original Subnautica teaser trailer. As soon as the camera enters the water, we can see the beloved and scrumptious Peeper. He's presented as a cute fellow with his big eyes matched with a curious attitude. Then again at the end we can see him wondering about, trying to figure out what in the actual hell is a big Subnautica sign doing underwater. The developers did a really good job putting emphasis on the Peeper, mainly because the rest of the fish are a blur. With his iconic yet simple design and characteristics, the Peeper was easily able to become one of the most recognized mascots of Subnautica, something Subnautica 2 does not have. The closest thing Subnautica 2 trailer has to a mascot like the Peeper is this thing, with very little interesting characteristics on a design POV, complete with a very boring attitude towards the player. Even the most recent trailer does not include this, with the closest thing being whatever the hell this thing is. Now you may be wondering why a mascot-like creature is so important to the sales of the game. Well, it gives your brand a face, character, and a personality, makes it easier for you to create a physical and emotional connection with your audience. It is a brand to its audience, represents everything a brand stands for, and by doing so help increase brand awareness and sales, conveys the type of services you offer without using words, are powerful marketing tools that personify your brand, are the storytellers of your brand. Send the message about your brand with no words. Stick with people and make your brand recognizable. Help create a captivating business story and bring your brand to life. So it's kind of important. I just don't see the creature that will become the next Peeper. Maybe that big black creature thing will eventually recreate the fear that the Reaper gave us, but as of now, nothing is iconic. I did say earlier that I would not go into the recent drama around the game, but for this next point, we have to skim over it a little. If you didn't know, Krafton acquired Unknown Entertainment, the owners of Subnautica, back in 2021 for 500 million, with an additional 250 million bonus tied with the performance of Subnautica 2. As of late, 3 of the creators of Subnautica and co-founders of Unknown Worlds were fired. As you can imagine, this will have a few consequences on the look and feel of the game as well as its story. Going forward, the company will have to try to recreate the magic of the original whilst not having the help of the original creators that allowed that magic to happen. Something that is already hard to do. For example, this load of bullcrap. Rocket League, one of the most popular games to ever be released, was nuked a few years back when Epic Games took over. From the money-hungry changes to the lack of meaningful updates, it quickly lost its magic and the community is still unhappy to this day. Though Subnautica is in a slightly different situation, there will most likely be noticeable changes. As a community, we can hope these changes are positive, but in most cases, they aren't. I just hope this whole situation gets sorted out so we can enjoy a sequel that gives us the same feel as the original, with the original developers that made it all happen in the first place. Moving on to the most consequential reason to why Subnautica 2 will fail: the fan backlash. Already players are beginning to become tired of the chaos happening around the game. For one, the early access has been needlessly pushed back, which literally nobody is happy with. The reason for this pushback is due to 250 million bonus that we talked about earlier. Unknown Entertainment would have received that money from Krafton if the early access was released this year, which they obviously didn't want to pay, so they just pushed it back to 2026, allegedly. So a future Shomper here, they've actually pushed the deal to 2026, so they will receive that 250 million bonus, no matter what happens. I just want to clarify that so I don't get bombed in the comments. On top of this frustration, the whole drama is making fans retaliate by planning on boycotting the game and removing it from their wish list to not give money to the company. They are doing this because they deem the game is becoming too corporate driven and therefore losing the heart and soul of the game, as well as the innovation from the original. This could be detrimental to the development of the final product and could force the developers to abandon the project completely, as they will not receive a large percentage of the money that they would have received if everything was fine. For those wondering, no, I do not want Subnautica 2 to fail by any way, shape or form. As said at the start of the video, I absolutely adore this game and I really hope they can get their act together and pull off what should be a masterpiece of a game. I just highly doubt that this project will come anywhere near the level of the original, but I would love to be proven wrong though. If I am wrong, I'll go suck a neck. As mentioned earlier, I'd like to see some aspects from the original game inside the new one that would help it find its feet and suck less. I'm going to go over some things that would be absolutely legendary to put just as an iconic throwback to play on the player's nostalgia and save time and energy for the company, all while making the community happy. Number 1, cuddlefish. These creatures were considered to be the cutest and cuddliest as they actually interacted with the player, resulting in them becoming a fan favorite. The eggs were scattered in the most awkward places around the map as like an Easter egg sort of thing, which I think it would be really cool to have the same sort of thing in the next game, forcing the player to explore every nook and cranny to find their cuddly companions. Even if it wasn't exactly the cuddlefish but some other species, I think that would be simple yet effective thing to add. Number 2, crab squid. As mentioned before, I think a very dark and narrow biome with crab squid would work perfectly as a terrifying yet incredibly cool biome. It wouldn't need to be that big, but it would be interesting to see people try and explore it as it plays on multiple phobias like arachnophobia from the crab squids, claustrophobia from the tight tunnels, and nyctophobia from the darkness. So, it could be fun. If this biome did exist, I wouldn't necessarily want it to be a mandatory location to visit, since some players wouldn't even dare go close to it due to the horrors that are preserved inside. It would be cool to have like a strong current that sort of pushes you inside of their lair that would add to the horror and intimidation of the biome. Number 3, warper. These mechanical beasts would be very interesting to implement in the sequel, as they are story orientated, so the big question would be how they link the first game's story to the second. As implied in the most recent trailer, the game will not take place in the original planet of 4546b, but some other random water planet. If the warper is present, that would absolutely flip the lore on its head, so game theory would lose its goddamn mind.
Calories.
Don't you tell me how many calories I need, bitch!
Number 4, Reaper. The most popular and iconic Leviathan of Subnautica would make an amazing comeback in the sequel. As a community, the return of this behemoth would absolutely petrify everybody, especially in a new and improved environment like the Crash Zone biome where players are forced to encounter them at least once. The design on these beasts is perfect, so no other Leviathan could do its job as a scary bitch. Number 5, Peeper, the OG goat of Subnautica. I wouldn't want him in every biome like the original, I just want one special biome. As we all know, he is the Freddy Fazbear of Subnautica, so it'd be great to see him yet again in the next game. Number 6, on a more general note, I would love more ecosystem related aspects. For example, this stalker, he has a mission in life, quite a stupid mission, but still, just like some real fish, an important mission that it will keep doing until it dies. They will slowly collect metal scraps and pile them up just like those penguins and Happy Feet did with pebbles. It's something simple and really inconsequential, but it just adds to the depth and realism that cures my crippling depression. 7. This. All I want in this water alien game, this. Blood kelp or Grand Reef? The utter dread on my 11-year-old self when I first saw these, or this, was literally immeasurable. What the first game did really well was making you feel completely uncomfortable. The slow transition, the loss of vision, the aura of doom, and not to mention the change of music. And congratulations, you have manufactured a new load of fecal matter in my pants. Just one of these biomes would be grand to put in the new game. And welcome to the most important part of the whole video. After going over everything that may destroy the game, I would like to go over some ways developers can fix these problems and redirect the game into a notable historical event that will be talked about for centuries. One of the most powerful steps Subnautica 2 developers can take to manage community expectations is through updates. Regular progress updates on social media can show fans that the team is listening and actively working whilst also being honest about setbacks or delays. It's equally important to actively educate the community on what early access means, describing clearly how the initial release will be incomplete and subject to change, and even sharing examples from the first Subnautica's own early access process, where major features and biomes were added over time. By setting the stage for an evolving, collaborative development experience, the team can shift the community's mindset from demanding instant perfection to sharing in the project's growth, just like raising a wild animal. Additionally, inviting dedicated fans to close alpha and beta playtests not only surfaces bugs and gameplay issues earlier, but also makes testers feel involved and valued. This hands-on interaction creates a core of positive advocates who can help manage wider expectations and excitement as Subnautica 2 evolves. 2. Bring back the magic of the original. Subnautica 2 should mix new creatures with a few returning favourites. More importantly, the game needs a great atmosphere, creepy sounds, beautiful music, and detailed environments that make exploring feel mysterious and exciting. For nostalgia, don't just copy old biomes or creatures, instead just add new twists or dangers to familiar places or creatures. This way, both old and new players can feel the same sense of wonder and fear that made the original so special. 3. To help Subnautica 2 create a memorable mascot, developers should introduce a unique creature with a distinct look and personality, starring it in trailers, artwork, and social posts, just like the original game's Peeper. This approach makes the mascot instantly recognizable and ensures players feel personally connected with the game's new face. 4. To address developers and publishers' turmoil, Subnautica 2 should strive to involve or consult original team members who understood the series' spirit, ensuring the unique magic of the franchise is preserved. If that's not possible, recruiting new creatives with a deep appreciation for what made the first game special is essential, empowering the development team with creative independence so innovation and quality come before profit. This will help maintain authenticity even in a larger corporate structure. 5. To rebuild community's goodwill, Subnautica 2 developers should openly acknowledge any past mistakes or setbacks with honesty and humility, showing fans their concerns are heard and respected. Rewarding loyal and early access supporters with exclusive in-game items or special recognition creates a sense of appreciation and belonging. Most importantly, when player feedback directly changes leads to changes in the game. The team should highlight this publicity, building trust and making the community feel like a genuine partner in the game's journey. These are some of the best things the Subnautica 2 team could do to fix the current state, but at the end of the day, I'm just some guy, so what do I know? Thank you all so much for watching this far. Please let me know what you think in the comments about the whole situation. I always enjoy others' perspectives, especially on matters such as this, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.